Welcome back to another deep dive on The Explainer. Okay, today we are jumping right into a massive paradigm shift regarding something you literally spend a third of your life doing, sleeping. Think about it. Tonight, when the sun goes down, you're going to walk into a room, flip a switch, and light will just instantly flood the space, right? You won't even think twice about it. It's completely second nature to us modern humans. But as you'll see today, we are about to completely shatter everything you think you know about sleep, storytelling, and what it actually means to be a human being in the dark.
Okay, let's dive into this. For 99.9% of all of human history, flipping a light switch simply wasn't an option. When the sun set, the world went dark. And I don't mean kind of dark, I mean pitch black. So dark, you couldn't even see your own hand waving right in front of your face.
I want you to really think about the implications of that for a second. For over 300,000 years, every single one of your ancient ancestors spent roughly half of their entire existence living in near total blackness. We're not talking about a quick power outage here. This was centuries upon centuries of just surviving the dark. And it sets up this incredibly profound mystery. What did humans actually do with all those hours before modern technology came along? How did they survive? And maybe more importantly, how do they spend their time?
To answer that, we really have to start with the one technological breakthrough that made literally any of our modern nighttime behavior possible: fire. The earliest solid evidence we have of humans controlling fire actually comes from Wonderwork Cave in South Africa, dating back roughly 1 million years. But fire didn't just give us a way to warm up, it completely and fundamentally restructured the human day. Because, before fire, our ancestors were just like every other primate. When the sun went down, you climbed a tree, or you hid in a sheltered spot, and you stayed absolutely still, because our eyes are, well, terrible in the dark compared to nighttime predators. Moving at night meant you just became someone else's midnight snack. Fire changed that evolutionary equation literally overnight.
Picture this. A campfire creates a very strict 30-foot circle of safety, just 30 feet across. Predators will almost never cross into that circle of light, but anthropologists studying modern hunter-gatherer groups note this pretty chilling reality. If you wander outside of that 30-foot radius at night, it means almost certain death. Even today, those who wander away from the fire are significantly more likely to be killed by predators. So the campfire was literally a glowing island of survival in a sea of danger.
But fire gave humans something arguably even more valuable than safety. It gave us extra time. Before fire, a useful day pretty much ended at sunset. That left maybe 12 hours of activity in the summer and as few as 8 in the winter. Fire added 2 to 4 highly usable hours to every single day. And here's where it gets absolutely fascinating. Anthropologist Paulie Wisner did a study in 2014 of the Bushmen of the Kalahari Desert, and it reveals this stark contrast. During the day, 80% of human conversation was purely practical: work, hunting, logistics, gathering. But at night, around the fire, 81% of conversations completely transformed into stories, myths about the origins of the world, and jokes. The campfire was literally our original classroom, our very first theater. It was right there in those extra firelit hours that human culture was truly born.
Now, what's really interesting about this next slide is that the night wasn't just about telling stories around the campfire. Historian Roger E. Eckertz recently unearthed a massive, entirely forgotten human behavior, and it proves that you and I were not actually designed to sleep the way we sleep right now. In 2001, Eckertz published a paper that, frankly, turned sleep science completely upside down.
He spent 16 grueling years digging through historical archives, and he discovered over 500 distinct references to a very specific phenomenon. We are talking references spanning entirely different cultures and eras, from ancient texts like Homer's Odyssey all the way to 1400s prayer books. And every single one of these 500 references mentioned the exact same routine: first sleep and second sleep.
And this brilliantly illustrates how it actually worked. Before the industrial age, human beings absolutely did not sleep in one continuous 8-hour block. They'd go to bed shortly after sunset and get their first sleep for about 4 hours. Then, they naturally woke up. They would stay awake for 1 to 2 hours in the middle of the night. This was a period they often call the watch, and then they would just go back to bed for their second sleep, another 4 hours until dawn. So that continuous, uninterrupted 8-hour sleep block that we all stress so much about achieving today, it is entirely a modern invention. This split sleep wasn't insomnia. It was just perfectly normal human behavior.
So what on earth did people actually do in the pitch black during the watch? Well, a surprisingly wide variety of things.
A 16th century French physician actually highly recommended that couples use this midnight window to conceive children, claiming they do a better job of it after a resting period. People would literally get up out of bed and go visit their neighbors in the middle of the night. They'd interpret their fresh dreams together. Or, as a doctor's manual from the 1500s advised, they would use the profound quiet of the world to just study and reflect.
Now let's move on and see how this builds, because this isn't just quirky historical trivia. Modern clinical science has actually tested it. In 1992, a psychiatrist named Thomas Ware conducted this incredibly fascinating experiment. He took a group of volunteers and entirely removed all artificial light from their lives. For 1 full month, these participants were subjected to 14 hours of pure, unadulterated darkness every single night. No lamps, no screens, no nothing, just the natural dark.
And the results? Honestly, they were staggering. Within a matter of weeks, every single participant naturally reverted right back away from the forced modern 8-hour block. They completely settled into that ancient biological pattern: 4 hours of sleep, 1 to 3 hours of quiet wakefulness, and then 4 more hours of sleep. And here is the absolutely critical takeaway from this. Nobody told the participants to do this. Their bodies simply remembered. The ancient biological program of split sleep was just waiting, dormant, inside them all along.
But Weir discovered something even more incredible when he actually measured their hormone levels during that middle-of-the-night wakeful period. Their brains were producing highly elevated levels of a hormone called prolactin. Now, prolactin is the exact same hormone your body releases during deep meditation. Participants described feeling incredibly peaceful, clear-headed, and reflective. So the watch wasn't just some time to kill before going back to sleep. It was its own distinct, deeply meditative state of human consciousness.
So the crucial point is, what killed this deeply ingrained human experience? Well, the answer is simple: light. The rapid invention and spread of artificial light completely erased a phase of human life that had existed for 300,000 years. We literally traded an incredibly quiet, reflective state of meditation for the convenience of a wall switch. And as a society, we didn't even realize we had lost it.
Just look at the timeline of this technological shift. It happened so incredibly fast. In the 1600s, cities began installing the first street lamps, pushing back the dark outside the home. Then, boom, in 1879, Thomas Edison commercialized the electric light bulb, bringing daylight indoors on demand. And today, in the modern era, we are basically staring at blue light screens deep, deep into the evening. Because of this rapid timeline, modern humans are now exposed to artificial light an average of 7 to 8 hours after sunset. Within just a few short generations, the night as our ancient ancestors knew it was entirely gone.
And physiologically, this has a massive impact on how our brains function. Your body, from an evolutionary standpoint, simply does not know the difference between a glowing LED screen and the actual sun. When bright light, especially blue light, from your phone or your TV hits your retina at 11 p.m., your brain interprets that signal to mean, hey, it's still daytime. This completely suppresses your natural melatonin production, it delays your sleep drive, and it entirely fragments the rest you do manage to get. We've basically overridden our ancient biology with electricity.
Which brings us to a really empowering realization for your own life. The next time you wake up at 2 a.m. and you're just staring at the ceiling in the dark, don't stress out about it. Remember that your body isn't malfunctioning. It's just your biology remembering its ancient 300,000-year-old programming. It's literally inviting you into the watch. So I want to leave you with a provocative question to ponder. Now that you know you aren't broken, what will you do when you wake up in the middle of the night? Let us know your thoughts in the comments and keep embracing that focused learning until our next explain.